raid sirens sounded in Kiev on Wednesday, after the United States shut its embassy there due to, quote, specific information of a potential significant air attack. It told its citizens in Ukraine to be ready to swiftly seek shelter. The Italian and Greek embassies said they had also closed their doors, while the French embassy remained open, but urged its citizens to be cautious. Moscow has criticised the decision by outgoing US President Joe Biden to let Ukraine use US missiles to strike into Russia, having warned for weeks it would see such permission as a major escalation. And on Tuesday, President Vladimir Putin lowered the threshold for a nuclear strike in response to attacks using conventional weapons. Russia said Ukraine fired US ATACMS missiles into its territory early on Tuesday morning, and suggested that the United States must have helped the strikes with satellite data, targeting and military personnel.
We aren't surprised by...
Washington did not immediately address those assertions, but rejected, quote, more of the same irresponsible rhetoric from Russia. Putin's spy chief, Sergei Narishkin, warned on Wednesday that Russia would punish any NATO states that help Ukraine with such strikes. Biden has also approved provision of anti-personnel landmines to Ukraine, a US official told Reuters. That's aimed at halting the advance of Russian ground troops in the east. The war is at a volatile juncture, and the rising tensions have stirred concern of a global confrontation. A fifth of Ukrainian territory is in Russian hands, and North Korean troops are deployed in Russia's Kursk region. There are doubts over the future of Western aid to Ukraine as US President-elect Donald Trump returns to the White House.
US authorities have indicted Indian billionaire Gautam Adani over an alleged multi-billion-dollar bribery and fraud scheme. The indictment was filed Wednesday in New York. It accuses Adani and his nephew Sagar of paying $265 million in bribes to Indian government officials to obtain solar energy supply contracts. Prosecutors also allege the Adanis and another executive at Adani Green Energy, former CEO Vineet Jain, concealed corruption from lenders and investors to secure $3 billion in loans and bonds. 5 other people were hit with related charges. Arrest warrants have been issued for Gautam and Sagar Adani. There was no comment from the Adani Group or India's embassy in Washington. According to Forbes magazine, Adani is worth $69.8 billion. That makes him the world's 22nd richest person and India's second richest. Last week, Adani said in a social media post that he planned to invest $10 billion in US energy security and infrastructure projects and create a potential 15,000 jobs.
Kizza Besigye, a veteran Ugandan opposition politician, has been kidnapped during a book launch in Kenya, his wife said on Wednesday. He was then transferred to Uganda, she said, where he is being held at a military jail in the capital. Besigye has been charged with several offences, according to a witness present at court, including unlawful possession of firearms. He has denied all charges and was remanded in custody until December 2nd. Besigye's wife, Winnie Byanyima, who serves as the head of UNAIDS, called on the Ugandan government to release him immediately. She did not provide details about the alleged kidnapping and could not immediately be reached for further comment. Uganda's information minister denied that Uganda engages in abductions, stating that any arrests abroad would be done in collaboration with the host country. Kenya's foreign ministry, however, told a local paper that it had no role in Besigye's arrest. The ministry did not immediately respond to a request for comment. In July, Kenyan authorities detained 36 members of Besigye's Forum for Democratic Change party and deported them to Uganda, where they were charged with terrorism-related offences. President Museveni's government has been accused of repeated human rights abuses against opposition activists, including illegal detentions, torture, and extrajudicial killings. Officials say those arrested are detained legally and processed appropriately by the court system.
Wall Street's main indexes ended mixed on Wednesday as investors worried about escalating geopolitical tensions and a muted holiday quarter sales forecast from Target. The Dow ended up 0.33%, the S&P 500 finished flat, and the Nasdaq shed 0.1%. Shares of Target plunged more than 21% after the retail giant forecast holiday sales and profits below Wall Street expectations, a stark contrast to Walmart, which a day earlier raised its annual sales and profit forecast for the third consecutive time. Chris Constantinos is chief investment strategist at Riverfront Investment Group.
One retailer had really, really strong numbers, and another retailer had very, very poor numbers and poor guidance. And so I think that that's confusing the picture a little bit. Then on top of that, obviously, the market is, I think, in general, trying to consolidate a lot of not only post-election gains, but also just gains for the year, right? We've had a huge year-to-date number in U.S. markets. And so some of this, I think, is just excessive positive sentiment trying to work itself off, particularly ahead of a pretty big tech company reporting tonight.
U.S. stocks had fallen earlier in the session after a report said Ukraine fired long-range British missiles into Russian territory. On Tuesday, Ukraine launched U.S.-made missiles into Russia, and President Vladimir Putin lowered the threshold for nuclear action. Shares of NVIDIA ended lower and then fell roughly 2% in extended trading after the chipmaker posted results after the closing bell. It forecast fourth quarter revenue slightly above estimates, but still failed to meet lofty expectations of some investors who have made it the world's most valuable firm.